Keeping teachers for the North can be challenging, especially for isolated communities, but a nonprofit organization called Gakino'amaage, Teach for Canada, not only trains and recruits teachers to the North, but also helps those educators have success with students. The organization is hosting an advisory council meeting in Winnipeg. It started yesterday and continues today. And joining us now to tell us more about the program and what's happening here are Deanna Matthews from Gakino'amaage, Teach for Canada, and Sheryl White, the Director of Education at God's Lake Narrows First Nation School Board. Good morning to both of you.
Good morning.
Thank you so much for joining us. Now tell us a little bit about the organization itself. What is it exactly and what do you do?
Yeah, so Gakino'amaage Teach for Canada was created in 2015 to really address the incredible teacher shortage faced by remote First Nations really across the country. We have 32 partners across Alberta, Saskatchewan, Manitoba, and Ontario. And really the organization is to recruit, prepare, support, and sustain the right educators for First Nation students in the North.
Because there are many different challenges up in the North, right?
Yeah.
For teachers, like what?
Yeah. Well, I might pass it to
Well, for more or less it's the culture shock. Living in a city and then coming up to a remote northern fly-in First Nation is kind of like a culture shock, and vice versa for when we come down to the city. So that culture shock, it's for some teachers it's kind of a bit much. So with that, Teach for Canada explaining the culture of the First Nations and then preparing them for life in the North, because there's limited services up there. So the better prepared they are, the more successful of a teacher they will be.
Okay, and teaching is different up in North as well. Tell us how.
Well, for a Northern First Nation teacher, there's limited resources that are available. We do try to provide as much as we can. We do not have like the school clinicians, the school psychologists, so they're pretty much like they have to pretty much do everything. We do try to provide that, but like as I said, the resources are limited, and because travel is involved, so we have to make sure that we try to bring these specialists up at when they're very needed. Like, yeah, so life for a Northern teacher is pretty much they have to be a jack of all trades.
Right,
yes.
But there are so many benefits. Tell us what those benefits are.
Well, first of all, our students benefit from these excellent and quality teachers. For a First Nation teacher, they have to be energetic, adventurous, willing to put themselves out there and become part of the community. And of course, our students benefit from that, and, from their experiences as well.
And really making an impact in the community as well. It feels good when you go home at the end of the day.
Yes, very much so.
Okay, so this convention that's happening, it started yesterday, it continues today. It's really about building a similar plan between all of your partners, right?
Yeah, so it's a gathering of 32 partners that we have, and yesterday and today we'll be looking for feedback from partners to really guide our program. So we provide wraparound support for teachers, for principals, for students as well in the North. So figuring out ways that we can kind of advance Indigenous education, First Nations education together in a meaningful way. So a lot of it is about sitting together, listening, having conversations, and figuring out how we can continue to improve the best possible education system for teachers, for students, and for First Nation schools.
And so for teachers that are on the verge of graduating right now, what would you tell them about considering this as an option for their careers?
So my message would be willing to take on a new adventure, challenge yourself. As a teacher, we're always challenging our students, so why not lead by example and go and join a new adventure.
It sounds like it would be quite an adventure indeed, making an impact in kids' lives every day.